Trump is trying to blank by sending federal police assets into Oregon.
This is pretty easy. I'd say Trump is trying to go back to the well, to use one of my favorite idioms. The president's poll numbers are, I don't want to say abysmal yet, because his overall approval rating is basically what it's been since 2017. And even on the economy, he's still flirting with 50-50. But he's certainly polling the absolute highest when it comes to addressing violent crime and law and order, right? You look at what's happened over the last several months. We had Donald Trump send in the National Guard to the District of Columbia, which actually worked out pretty well. He flirted with sending troops to Chicago. He directed the Pentagon to send National Guard troops to Memphis, Tennessee. And now he's moving on to Portland. And the natural question you have to ask is why? He doesn't love Portland. He's talked about it at least for the last 5 years, how it's like a hellhole city with the blue hairs running around. And shout out to Chaz, the autonomous zone of operation. And economically, it doesn't really, have a ton of weight. So what is he really trying to get out of this? He's trying to get cameras on the ground, having very aggressive protesters running the gambit up to rioters, engaging and clashing with law enforcement, because he can say, oh, look, all these liberal-run states and Democrat-run cities are hellholes. I'll say it again. And this is something he needs when you have places in California, your home state, where San Francisco appears to be turning the corner on moving away from
because they got rid of their Soros prosecutor and got a tough on crime normie dem mayor.
Exactly. I mean, do you think I'm right? Do you think he's trying to get anything out of this other than the optics, or is this like a strategic move?
No, I mean, I agree with you. I'm going to use a synonymous phrase. Trump is trying to go the defund the police left, trying to go the hard progressive far left. Because I do think the strategy is largely, again, the economy is not gangbusters the way it should be. It does not feel like we're growing at 3.8% annually. Just because that wage growth is positive, it's 0.8% since Trump started in office, but it's not the 3% wage growth he was talking about. Going back to the well, but specifically doing so by eliciting a dumb response out of Democrats. And this just goes back to the whole idea that the resistance is futile because they can't focus on things that are popular. Again, Trump has done plenty of things that small c conservatives and small l liberals should both be pretty mad about in terms of the power itself of the presidency when it comes to domestic policy. Instead, every time Trump talks about, I'm going to send in the National Guard, the argument is not about constitutionality. It is not about, you can send in federal law enforcement, but not federal troops. It is a stalwart defense of not only are Portland and Chicago with these insane violent crime rates, not only is it not a problem, actually it's good and you're bad for noticing. And I don't even think it's just the footage of, idiot Chaz protesters who will inevitably try to assault National Guard troops, which basically happens every single time you have these, conflagrations. It's also just the fact that, Gallup, after Charlie Kirk's murder, said that 8% of people said that the biggest issue facing the country is crime or violence. That's the highest share since 2020. It's up from 3% in the poll before that. So you have still the overhang of the miasma of the horrible Charlie Kirk assassination. Lots of Democrats, unfortunately, not Democratic Party members, but lots of liberals, like even Jimmy Kimmel, who's kind of a mainstream figure, lying about it, Americans feeling gaslit, and then feeling gaslit again when Brandon Johnson says, Chicago's totally fine even though 58 people were shot over Labor Day weekend. And so it's a great way to distract from, Trump's rating on inflation specifically. According to Nate Silver's poll aggregation, he is 30 points underwater on inflation. And that is terrible. The issue that put him back in the White House. On immigration, it's 5%. And on various polls that break down immigration and crime into separate components, like this latest Washington Post Ipsos poll, Trump is doing best on crime, better than anything. It's just a classic, Dem stepping on the rake issue where Trump is doing things that you could get Rand Paul and the libertarians, or even, the squishy security mom, suburban mom vote, and instead they go after they take the 20 on the 80-20 issues. We cannot deport Kilmar Abrego Garcia and other MS-13 accused members. We cannot crack down on violent criminals in cities that have had Democratic mayors for 100 years.
And I do think we should note, Trump announced this via Truth Social last week. As of Monday, he had not issued a directive to Pete Hegseth and the Pentagon to actually mobilize assets. But he has been sued already over this.
So it could just be, he's just vibing. Like him announcing the Amelia Earhart files must be released,
Why not?
It's just a vibe.
Yeah.
We all have funny thoughts late at night when we're tweeting from bed or truthing from bed.